If you call yourself a pragmatist philosopher,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Pragmatists say we should stop thinking in Greek terms, not think of in terms of a distinction between appearance and reality, or between mind and body, or between intellect and sense, but think of ourselves in the wake of Darwin as what Nietzsche called clever animals who find cleverer and cleverer ways of talking about what's going on and clever ways of dealing with what's going on, but never do anything like, penetrating beyond the world of the senses, or penetrating beyond appearance to reality, or ascending from the body to the mind, or anything of that sort. And much of pragmatism is just the same kind of criticism as you get in Heidegger's criticism of what he called the ontotheological tradition. I think it was unfortunate that pragmatism became thought of as a theory or definition of truth. I think it would have been better if the pragmatists had said, we can tell you about justification, but we can't tell you about truth. There's nothing to be said about it. That is, we know how we justify beliefs. We know that the adjective true is the word we apply to the beliefs that we've justified. We know that a belief can be true without being justified. That's about all we know about truth. And justification is relative to an audience and to a range of truth candidates. Truth isn't relative to anything. Just because it isn't relative to anything, there's nothing to be said about it. I mean, truth with a capital T is sort of like God. There's not much you can say about God. That's why theologians talk about ineffability. Contemporary pragmatists tend to say the word true is indefinable, but none the worse for that. We know how to use it. We don't have to define it.
If you define it in the Nietzschean term, there are no facts, there are only interpretations.
Yeah, that gives the general pragmatist idea that no description, or if you like, no interpretation, is closer to reality than any other. Some of them are more useful for some purposes than others, but that's about all you can say. And Nietzschean perspectivism, which says, you can't rise above interpretations and get to facts, or dig down below interpretations and get to facts, is substantially the same thing as I meant before when I said that pragmatists try to get rid of the reality-appearance distinction. I mean, the Greek idea is that at a certain point in the process of inquiry, you come to rest because you've reached the goal. And the pragmatists are saying, we haven't the slightest idea what it would be like to reach the goal. The idea that the aim of inquiry is, conformity to correspondence to reality, or seeing the face of God, or substituting facts for interpretations, is one that we just can't make any use of. All we really know about is how to exchange justifications of our beliefs and desires with other human beings, and as far as we can see, that will be what human life will be like forever. So pragmatists regard the Platonist attempt to get away from time into eternity, or get away from conversation into certainty, as a product of an age of human history where life on Earth was so desperate and it seemed so unlikely that life could ever be better that people took refuge in another world. Mm-hmm. Pragmatism comes along with things like the French Revolution, industrial technology, all the things that made the 19th century believe in progress. When you think that the aim of life is to make things better for our descendants rather than to reach outside of history and time, it alters your sense of what philosophy is good for. In the Platonist and theistic epoch, the point of philosophy was to get you out of this mess into a better place. And
God, heaven,
the realm of Platonic ideas, the contemplative life, something like that. And the reaction against this Greek Christian pursuit of blessedness through union with a natural order is to say there isn't any natural order, but there is the possibility of a better life for our great-great-great-grandchildren. That's enough to give you all the meaning or inspiration or whatever that you could use.